right, this is super exciting. This is the first podcast I'm ever doing called Beyond the Game by Eric Michael. I've been sitting behind a computer for 4 years building Major League Profits. Some of you guys have probably seen the ads for it. And, now I'm kind of ready to let loose, have a little bit more free time, and kind of give you guys the rundown, do this podcast and answer any questions you guys have and, go through anything you want. And my name is Eric Michael. I've sold over $5 million in sports cards. I've been so fortunate where sports cards allowed me to never have to work for anyone. And now I teach people how to make money buying and selling sports cards. I do it full time. I've been super blessed. Here's my here's my puppy. But what I'm going to do on this podcast is go through some questions, shoot the shit, and kind of just have fun. And let me go live on Instagram real quick. Cool. What's up, Instagram? This is the first podcast I'm ever doing. How's it going? If you guys have any questions in the Instagram comments, feel free to ask. And I'm just going to run through a few questions and go through things. So, Justin here said, I'm spending thousands of dollars on cards, but don't know what the hell I'm doing. I don't want to waste money on a class if it's the same old bullshit. I'm serious about making money if you can help. Okay. Wow, there's a lot to dissect there. All right. So you guys ever see, a lot of you guys have this preconceived notion that online classes are scams. Okay. Now I'm gonna go. This is just Justin. You just triggered me. You just sent me down a whole whirlwind. So I want you to picture this. So a lot of these online courses, whether it's stocks or real estate or crypto or whatever, could be $3, $4, $5, $6, $7, $8,000, a little bit more, a little bit less, whatever. But it's crazy because when you think about, like, let's say a class that teaches you how to trade stocks, it's $5,000. People are like, oh my God, $5,000? Holy shit. That is insane. But at the same time, it's the same person that went to college and spent $100,000, and most of the stuff you learn in college, you didn't even have to know to get your job. Quick backstory: I have a friend, a former employee, that went to art school. Okay, art school, probably not that many lucrative jobs to get there in the field of art. Maybe an art teacher, maybe one out of every 100 gets some crazy gig with Vogue magazine or something insane. But it cost her $100,000 to go to art school, and now she's severely in debt. And doesn't that sound like a scam? Like, going to art school, spending $100,000, knowing that probably 95% of the people that come out of that art school don't get any job in the type of field that they're in. That is what sounds like a scam to me. But so many people see my ads or other ads and be like, oh my God, this program is probably thousands of dollars. It's a scam. But let's say my program was $5,000, for example, but I taught you a safe and realistic way how to make a side income with sports cards, and you made an extra $2 or $3 a month. You paid $5,000 for an applicable skill that is going to last you the rest of your life, and it's an extra few grand a month. But people are like, oh my God, this stuff's a scam. But in reality, it's not. It's like coaching programs and online education programs are no different than college. Like, if you went to college, I'm sure people watching this have friends that went to college and they failed out, right? They didn't do their homework, they partied, they failed out of college. Is college a scam because the person failed out and dropped $30,000 on tuition the first year? No, right? And that's the same thing with my program or any of these other online education programs. All it is, it's a class. It lays out the framework. This is what you need to do to make money. Some people do it, make money. Some people don't execute, and they go on Reddit and Twitter or wherever and say it's a scam, right? It's no different than college, except it's way, way cheaper, and you're actually learning an applicable skill. Like, take it from me. Now, the way I bought and sold sports cards, I had a friend from my hometown. His name was Dylan. You might be watching this right now. And Dylan, I heard he was buying and selling sports cards, and I contacted him, and he taught me how to do it. I did it through college and got pretty good at it. Then I started teaching people how. But Major League Profits, we have over 25 employees. It's a multiple seven-figure company. Every single thing I learned on how to build that company, every single thing I learned was from paying other online education programs, other coaching programs. So I can attest to the fact that coaching programs are not a scam. It's no different than going to algebra class, going to geometry class, right? Are you going to execute and put in the work? If you do, you're going to learn the skill. If not, well, you're not going to do it. Just the difference between college and coaching programs is the people that fail out of college blame themselves, not the college. The people that fail out of online education programs say the coach is a scam or the program's a scam. But Justin, going back to your question, I told you triggered me. Well, you're not going to waste money. I mean, just to be transparent with you, we've taught hundreds or thousands of people at this point how to make an extra few grand a month on the side. And I'd be lying to you if I said there weren't people that paid me money, got into class, and didn't make anything on their return, on their investment, because there's some people that join and just don't put in the work. And there's other people, like I just got off the phone with a student. Um, his name was Ron Norman, and he made 12 grand in profit the first 3 months, and he's never bought a sports card before. So there's people that execute and people that don't. Um, so that's what I have to say to his the same old bullshit. Some classes are better than others, but none of them are scams. It's just a lot of people think it's just gonna be handed to them when it's not. Hopefully that answers your question, Justin. See, Dominic said, "I want to work with you." Um, I don't know what that means, Dominic. We're not hiring at the moment. Let's see what other questions we have here. All right. So we have Maine. This is a long one, so bear with me. I'm in my 50s. I started collecting since I was 10 years old. Unfortunately, I didn't get as serious about it until the early 90s. I did buy a good amount in the 80s. I started buying basketball cards in bulk in the 90s. Yes, I missed the 86 clear set. I bought cases of 89 and 92 hoops and upper deck along with baseball, football, basketball. Unfortunately, when the market started to get oversaturated after college, so the market collapsed in the 90s, for those of you guys that don't know, I stopped collecting cards. Without specifying all the cards, several mid-80s baseball, football, basketball worth $1,500 plus if PSA ranked them in 8 through 10, but $200 without rating them. My question is, I have over 10,000 cards and probably 300 to 500 of them that seem worth having sent to be graded. Is it, Mac, you keep saying rated. I think you mean graded. Graded is what you're close enough, though. Is it better to have them sent together for discount? Is there a price point that makes it worth having them graded? Which is the best service to have your cards graded? PSA Beckett. Thank you. I am looking forward to your podcast. All right. A couple different questions. So, number one, PSA is the best company to get these cards graded. Pretty straightforward. Bottom line, like, get them graded with PSA. Number two, so I have a rule when it comes to grading cards. This applies to cards you might already have. This applies to cards that um, you're going to buy. At the minimum, to make it worth it, if a card grades a 10, you want to at least double your money. Okay? So, for example, if you buy a card for $200, you want to make sure after fees, grading, eBay, everything, you can at least sell it or at least net $400 out of it. So, going back to what you were saying, you have a bunch of cards in the 80s and the 90s. So it's tricky because a lot of these cards may not grade a 10. You're telling me here that a bunch of cards you have graded through an 8 to a 10 worth $100 to $200 without grading them, excuse me. So my advice to you, if the card looks good, when I say looks good, I mean the centering is good, the corners, the edges, the surface, all that stuff. If all that stuff is good, do not expect it to grade a 10. Expect the grade a 9. Cards from the 80s and 90s are very hard to grade a 10 because they're very flimsy, they get damaged easy, etc. If you can at least double your money, if the card grades a 9 and you think it's in good condition, I'll send it in. I have like a million videos out there talking about the condition of cards. That's what I would do. So, like, just to give you a pretty blunt example. So, let's say a card is, as a 9, it's worth $80, right? If it grades a 9 and it costs $20 to get the card graded, you're probably going to be using the bulk service level, which is the lower end service level, which is $19. So if that card, you can net at least double your money. So at least double the $19 you're going to have to invest to get the card graded. And it grades a 9, so it's worth at least $40. Graded a 9, I'll send it in. So bottom line, if you can at least double your money after all costs, send it in. But in your case, I'd be assuming the card is going to grade a 9. That's probably not going to grade a 10, to be straight with you. Even if it looks great, these grading companies are just very skeptical of like any card that comes in that's like in the 80s or 90s and not get graded. And is there a discount sending in bulk? Yeah, the discount is if you use the bulk service level. So I forget. I think you need to send at least 20 cards in one order, and then you could use the $19 service level. I believe it's still $19. If not, it'll cost you $25 per card. Hopefully that answers your question, Mac. Also, I'd be looking for any '90s basketball like McGrady, Vince Carter, Dirk Nowitzki. All that stuff from the '90s is actually worth something. A lot of the cards from the junk wax era, like '70s, '80s, '90s, like baseball is all worth shit. But '90s basketball could be worth a decent amount. Any of those names. All right, so hopefully that helps you out. All right, we have Frank here saying, "I'm in debt, but would love to be able to buy cards or sell mine and make some money in my spare time. But I feel like buying low price cards or selling cards $2 to $5 on eBay is a waste of my time. I have a CJ Stroud Red Zenith that's worth more than $5. Any advice?" Okay, so you're in debt. Um, I'm going to assume you have at least a few $100s in liquid cash. If you don't, go borrow it from someone. Very easy. What I would do if I was in debt and I had to do this all over again is I would definitely get into sports cards. I think it's the easiest way to make money online. I don't just say that because I teach people how to do it. Like, it's pretty simple and straightforward. So, Frank, what I would do if you were in debt, get a few $100s together and go to a card show. I don't know where you live in the country, but there's decently sized card shows all over the place. You can just search for them online. And what I would do, so when you go to a card show, you have a dealer, and he usually has a glass table, right? And on this glass table, inside of it, he has his more expensive cards. However, next to the glass table, they usually have something called a dollar box. This is where they put their cards worth $1 each. And what you could do is go into that dollar box, find cards that are worth like any autograph of any named player is worth at least like $5, $6, $7. So find like 10 or 20 cards you think are undervalued. Go on eBay and check the comps. If you don't know how to do that, like go on the eBay app, search the card and click sold items, see what it sells for. But any autographs worth at least $5, $6, $7, they're going to be in that dollar box all the time. And what you do is buy like 20 cards. Tell the dealer, hey, I'll give you $15 for these 20 cards. They'll say yes. They don't even want the cards. They're just junk to them. And then you can go on eBay, flip them individually, or go on Facebook and flip them individually. And a lot of times you can make $80, $90, $100 off your $15 investment. So there's no risk. I mean, I guess there's risk, but like it's very simple, straightforward. You don't need to wait for cards to be graded, nothing to get shipped. Just go to a card show if you're in debt with a few $100s and do that every single weekend. And you should be able to make a few $100s a weekend, and all of a sudden your bankroll will build. That is like the easiest way to make money, like ever. Like not even just sports cards. That's like the easiest way to make money ever. To be straightforward with you. Hopefully that helps you out, Frank. That's what I would do. Um, if I was in your shoes. Let's see what other questions we got. Um, what are some of the top LeBron cards you think are valuable today? Um, it's a very broad question. I mean, like his most valuable is the exquisite number to 99 from 2003. Um, like, is that his most valuable? Maybe there's something a little bit more valuable, but that would be his most valuable. Um, let's see. I don't know, Glenn. I don't really know what you're asking me. You could send me a message. Is there one team versus single player to collect? So if your goal is to make money, that's a very broad question. But if your goal is to make money, you should not be collecting teams. You should be buying players and like flipping these cards. Like a card like this, I forgot what I paid, like maybe 15 or 1600, and I'll flip it for like 22, 2300. More expensive, but if you're looking to make money, which I'm assuming a lot of you guys are, that's why you're like probably watching this right now. Is don't or get cards graded. That's like the simplest, easiest way to make money. So the easiest way to make money first is the whole what I just said about the dollar boxes, and the next easiest way to make money is grading cards, and then the next thing after that is doing what I do and buying cards already graded, holding them for a few months and flipping them. But that's better to do with a little bit higher end cards. What's up, Brock? Brock's in the Instagram live right now. Brock was my first student ever in Major League Profits. He joined like man, July or August of 2019. He was making $300 in a food truck per week, and then he made like I don't know 50, 60 grand just off Zion Williamson. I forget what it was exactly, but Brock, you could tell people that story. All right, cool. So Andrew says I already have a pretty massive card collection. 30 years in collecting, never sold a single card. I have two questions. First, What's your opinion on streaming breaks, and does Major League Profits cover that? And do you have any experience in doing so? And second, I'm finally open to selling some parts of my collection. What's the criteria of which you would choose cards to grade first and sell ungraded cards? I kind of messed that up. But all right. So the first question: I have no experience breaking. I very rarely ever do it. The reason, like, there's nothing wrong with it, but like breaking cards. So when you break cards, right? For those of you guys that don't know what that means, right? You're basically opening up a box or pack of cards for multiple people who split it, and you make a little bit on the difference. The problem is you're reliant on someone else, right? You're reliant on like Upper Deck or Panini or Tops to send you cards, or to send you packs of boxes. So the way it works is, once again, I've never actually done it, but I'm just speaking for people who have told me. The way it works breaking is you have all sorts of good products with cards like Prism, National Treasures, and Flawless, and all the really good ones. And then you have a bunch of shit ones. So Upper Deck and Panini and these companies want to get rid of everything, right? They want to sell everything. So in order to get the good ones, you have to take the shit ones. And the shit ones you don't really make much money on, but the good ones you make a lot of money on. But the reason I don't teach it and don't do it is because I don't like being reliant on someone else. Like just flipping cards like this, like there's no distributor, there's no one else. It's just me. All the risk and all the everything is in my hands. It's my business. You know, when you're breaking cards, you're reliant on an outside source. And because I teach people how to make money buying and selling sports cards, I want to make it as easy and realistic as possible, right? And the way to do that is like through buying and selling cards, because I can't guarantee that someone's gonna get like a license to get a distribution from Panini products, right? Like I don't even know how to do that, to be honest with you. I probably could if I tried, but uh, so that's what I would say to that. And the second question: I'm open to selling parts of my collection. What's the criteria to get cards graded? So I have a million videos out there that talk about like evaluating the condition of cards, and it's kind of like I said. I think it was Max who asked me earlier. Um, what you want to be doing is looking for anything that's in good condition, of course, right? You want to make sure it's gonna. You think it could at least grade a 9. If it could at least grade a 9, you might have something. Second, really, 90s basketball is gonna be your bread and butter. Like that's really the only stuff that's like worth significant amounts of money from the 70s, 80s, and 90s. Unless you have something that's gonna grade a 10. Anything that's gonna grade a 10 is gonna be worth significant amounts of money. Like Roger Clemens rookie cards are barely worth anything, but as a 10, they're worth a few $100s. To be transparent with you, I doubt you have anything that's worth a 10. So like I'd probably be looking for 90s cards, basketball, guys we've heard of, Tracy McGrady, Dirk Nowitzki, Kobe Bryant, guys like that. That's what I'd be looking for. Andrew, so hopefully that answers your question. William says the monthly membership still available. Yes, it's $47 a month while I'm speaking right now. Let's see, we have Mike. So Mike says, watching your videos, you seem to put a lot of stock into getting a PSA 10 grading to increase the value of the card. I have been submitting cards for several years, and I found the 10 is by far the exception. I think you mean it is the exception. Is there a significant drop off in value when a card is graded lower than a 10? Why don't you ever mention this? So I do mention it. So this is how making money with sports cards works in a nutshell. So let's say, I don't know, let me take it. Let me see if I have any cards. All right, this is a good example. This card of LaMelo Ball. I actually don't know what it's worth right now. I've had it for a little bit. But this card, I believe I paid about 200 something dollars for. And it's a 10. I haven't looked in a little bit, but it was worth 500. It's probably worth a little bit less now. But when I bought this card for 200 and I got it graded as a 10, it was worth 500. Great. If the card grades a 9, you'll usually about break even, maybe lose or make 5%. And that's why sports cards is like an amazing thing to make money. Because who wouldn't do that? Well, you spend $200 on this card to make double or triple your money. And if it doesn't make double or triple your money, you break even, right? It's like flipping a coin, but if it lands on heads, you make money. And if it lands on tails, you break even. Of course, everyone would take that chance, at least I hope. However, because you're saying the cards you send in don't grade a 10, that's just, to be honest with you, just a lack of skill, right? You just don't know what you're looking at. Like, if you're decent, like I can tell you, the students in our program, they grade 10s about 60 to 70% of the time. And if you're doing that, right, and 60% of the time you're doubling or tripling your money, and the other 40% you're breaking even, that's a very good game to play. Um, grading cards is a skill. Like the ability to evaluate the condition of a card is a skill. Like looking at the corners, the edges, the centering, surface, all that stuff. So hopefully that helped you out, Mike. But yeah, I mean, you can message me. I can help you, or just watch the videos. There's a million videos out there. I have. Um, Tell me about how I'm able to make a profitable income with some cards. I have the 80s and 90s. Sean, I just kind of went over that, so just rewind a little bit. All right. You have 500. Ken says you have $500 burning a hole in your pocket. What do? You buy a single card graded as 10. 5 cards of the same card graded at 10. Buy 5 different cards graded at 10. I think I know what you're trying to say. Yeah, if I had $500 and like, what's the goal? Is it just to, like, spend the $500 and forget about it? Like, while I'm speaking right now, that someone I'm high on is like Victor Wembanyama. So I try to find something of him. Once again, not making financial guarantees here, but if you're just looking to spend the money and forget about it, or if you're looking to build an income stream, I would buy cards, buy a few cards for $100 each, get them graded, turn that money over, flip it, and repeat that process. Just depends on what your goal is, or the actual best answer. That's going to sound corny because I own a coaching program, is to invest in coaching to learn the skill to make an income with sports cards. Hopefully that helps you out. Okay. Um, a lot of questions about older cards. What's the best option with older common cards from the 80s? They're worth shit, to be honest with you. I think Jay Gray, whoever's asking that, you just want to be looking for 90s basketball or anything in immaculate condition. Let's see. David says, I need access to someone or somebody that can grade my collection of cards. I have hundreds of cards that need to be graded. PSA charging $25 a pop will not work financially. I need to be pointed in the right direction. Well, it should work financially if these cards are worth it, because you can just put it on a credit card. So that's always a valid option. But what you could do is a lot of these consignment services, what you could do is buy a card, send it to them, and they'll front the grading cost. So they'll get it graded for you, they'll get it back, and they'll actually sell it for you and just take out the difference. So just make sure you're actually sending them cards that's worth more than the grading cost, but they'll actually front the cost for you. So if you have no money, hopefully that helps you out. Let's see. Hudson says, what are some players to look at buying during the basketball offseason? So, standard rule of thumb that I go by is a nice investing quote from Warren Buffett is be fearful when others are greedy, be greedy when others are fearful. So, for example, like Victor Wembanyama, like I just talked about before, is down like 60% or something ridiculous in the past few months. So those are the guys I like to buy, like someone like this, like for football, like Kyler Murray. Like no one was buying him a few months ago. He was in the shitter. So I like to buy guys that are that just no one's on at the moment. That's, in my opinion, that's the best way to make money. Because like you hold it till the season's about to start, and either A, okay, they're not going to go up, or B, they go up a lot. And actually, a good example, I talked about this in a video. I got a lot of shit for it. But he's actually up in value. Is Sam Howell. So like Sam Howell. So for these you guys that don't know, starting quarterback for the Commanders. I actually thought he was pretty good. He had no offensive line, so like fucking just had a miserable season. He just got the shit beaten out of him. I don't know how he stayed healthy. Commanders obviously drafted J.D. Daniels, so Sam Howell went to the Seahawks. Now, Sam Howell is the backup on the Seahawks. Now, in my personal opinion, I think Geno Smith's kind of washed. He's okay. I think Sam Howell is actually better than him. So Sam Howell, his prices are down like, tons. Like his PSA 10 contenders is like $150 now. It used to be like $400 or $500, maybe even a little bit more. So his prices are selling for what a backup sells for. Okay. So I bought a bunch of Sam Howell knowing this. Like, he already sells for a backup. He can't really go down in value. He could get injured, I guess, and go down a little bit more, God forbid. But what's the downside? The downside is, okay, I bought a bunch of these Sam Howell cards, nothing happened, I break even. The upside is if he starts popping off in the preseason or there's rumor that he's fighting Geno Smith for the starting job, well, if that happens, you'll see his value skyrocket like out of nowhere. It's kind of like the best way to think about investing in sports cards, at least like the way I do, is like penny stocks. So like a penny stock that sells for like 2 cents, the smallest, because they're so volatile, smallest littlest thing will shoot it up in value. And the downside with like someone like Sam Howell, who's like a penny stock, is not that much, right? It's like, what's the downside? Like, how much worse can it get? It's already a backup, right? But because he's so young and volatile, there's real money to be made, as opposed to like someone like this is a, like I was showing you before, like Justin Herbert. Like he's a little bit harder to make money on because he's more of like a blue chip stock. So like just like Disney or Fox, like they go up a few percent or down a few percent a year. Same thing with like Justin Herbert or Patrick Mahomes. Like you could buy those cards, but where's the money to be made? Like if you bought a Disney stock, where's the money to be made? Not much, right? Unless you just get it really cheap. But no one's going to give you a Patrick Mahomes card for like really cheap. So good luck. The money's made in taking risks and the volatility. Hopefully that helps you, Hudson. That was a long answer. Um, let's see. Who else do we got in here? Bunch of questions. This is good. I don't know. You guys would be so into this. Is the process for let's discuss in the tram. That's like a question for the program. Some of you guys are in the program are asking questions. You can just ask to your coach. Let's see what else we got here. I see some things on like is like people asking things along the lines of like, are there guarantees? Is it a scam? Like kind of like I said before, like coaching programs are no different than college. Like it's not a scam. Like nothing is a scam. Like I could tell you for a fact, I bought and sold, millions of dollars in sports cards, and like the trainings I give are exactly that. Like they're exactly what I've learned, how I've done it, and I just give you this information. Now it's up to you to execute. Here's an amazing story. So this is actually an incredible story. I'm not going to use any names here, but if this person's watching, he'll know exactly what I'm talking about. So we had someone join our program, our highest level program, and it's not cheap. Not cheap because we give you one-on-one coaching and you can really make a lot of money. And in that program, we actually teach something called sports betting arbitrage. And we do it alongside the sports cards because sports betting arbitrage, for those of you guys that sports gamble, probably a lot of you guys know about sports gambling. Basically, what we teach is how to take advantage of discrepancies in sports lines. So, like, you could play the middle and make a guaranteed like $30, $40, $50 on a bet. Okay? It's a very simple and realistic way to make money. It's like you never see me talk about it or market it because it sounds too good to be true. Like that's how good it is. Okay. So we had 2 people join our program. One guy's name I'm not going to say. One guy's name is Gene. They actually joined the program on the same exact day. Same exact day. And Gene, super gung ho about it. They both lived in California. Like they're both really, really gung ho. Both really quality students. I could tell they were going to make a lot of money. Now Gene, and let's call the other person Bob. So I'm not going to say his real name, but let's say Bob. They were both on an onboarding call with our sports betting arbitrage coach. Okay. And Bob, I don't know what happened to him. Maybe he's bipolar. I have no idea what happened. But he just started exploding at my coach. He just started screaming and yelling and saying, like, this isn't fucking possible. This is bullshit. Blah, blah, blah. Someone that's probably been told their whole life that, these online programs are a scam. Okay. So it just starts exploding at our coach, like going crazy. And Gene is sitting there, and it's both of them on the call. And Gene's like, hey, just give Chad, who's our coach, a chance to explain himself. Anyways, Bob, the one who exploded, we gave him a refund, said, hey, this is not for you. You could leave. Gene, however, followed what the coaches said. And from the sports betting arbitrage stuff, he made $8,000 in profit the first 30 days. Once again, I know it sounds too good to be true. So a lot of you guys are probably like, that's horse shit. It's not. You can go to our website. There's videos on there. But so the point I'm trying to make is like people like say shit all the time like, "Oh, mindset's just corny." Like, I don't need a better mindset. I have a good mindset, but mindset is a big part of it. Okay, like look at Bob and look at Gene. Bob, shitty mindset, made no money. Gene, good mindset, made $8,000 the first month. Okay, and it's all because of mindset, right? Like to give you an example for myself, this is not to toot my own horn, but I have a lot of flaws. I have a lot of good things. I have a lot of pros. I have a lot of cons about myself. One of the pros and cons is that I believe in myself a lot, and I'm very hard headed. I don't let people like. I'm very like habitual. I do my own thing. I'm like kind of in my own world. Okay, so when I graduated college, I told my parents that I was going to continue buying and selling sports cards, which at that point they already saw work. I was making like a few grand a month. It was like a side income. And I told them I'm going to start this coaching program. I'm going to teach people how to make money buying and selling sports cards. And my parents are both New Yorkers, like classic New Yorkers, skeptical of everything, like exactly what you think. Those are my parents. And love them to death, but they were both like, you're not going to succeed. I remember my mom told me like only 1 in 6 businesses succeed. That's what she used to tell me when I was starting Major League Profit. They were telling me about how businesses never succeed. Don't do that. Don't waste your time. Get a corporate job because I studied finance at college, so I had some job options available. But being the dumb idiot 22-year-old kid I was, I told them I was going to make it work. And a few years later, we have 25 plus employees, and I've lived a life that I didn't even think was possible. I say this not to brag, but I tell you this because a lot of it is mindset. Like it is mindset. Like if I had a bad mindset and fell into what my parents were telling me, guess what? I would have never been where I am today, living in the middle of downtown Tampa, living a blessed life. Um, it starts with mindset, and there's so many people like this is crazy. Like I'll never understand this, but there's so many people that like whether it's sports cards or stocks or starting a business or whatever. There's so many people that like are like skeptical, which you should be. Like you should be skeptical. Like you see my ads online, like you should be skeptical. Um, but what people will do is they'll ask their parents or their friends, like, "Hey, like, what do you think of this coaching program? Like, what do you think of this? Should I invest in this? Should I invest in that?" And they take advice from people that are not where they want to be financially. Like, think about that for a second. Like, let's say you were in high school. Would you ask your math teacher a history question? No, of course not. You would ask your history teacher a history question, right? That's pretty common sense. And the same thing applies for sports cards. And like, let's say my life, for example. Like when I first started to buy and sell sports cards back in 2015, my parents thought like sports cards were a scam. Just like, there's no way you can make money. But I always said to myself, well, I love my parents, but like, I want to be financially free one day, right? I want to work for myself, work remote, do all these amazing things. So I should not take financial advice from someone who's not where I want to financially be. Think about that for a second, right? Hopefully it's like clicking. And it's crazy because people do that all the time. It just sickens me. I'm like, why are you taking financial advice from this person if they're not where you want to financially be? Um, right? That's what that's kind of just what I say to myself, and something that's just helped me out a lot. Um, but um, let's continue going through some of the questions. That's my little rant. Um, let's see here. So, hey Eric, what are some sports cards you can buy to make some money on that you can get graded if I don't have a lot of money? That's David. So David says, or my advice to you, David, I kind of said it in the beginning. So doing the dollar boxes at the card shows is like a very, very beneficial way to get going and make money with sports cards. Like you could find so many cards in there that are like $5, $6, $7, $8 that like you could just go on Facebook, eBay, flip. Um, it's a very safe and realistic way to make money. That's probably the easiest thing to do. Um, let's see. Let's see what else we got here. This is an interesting question. So, hey there, how can you tell if a card is short print, SSP, and other special ones? Can you explain so we don't throw out what we think is a regular base card? By the way, I only collect Tops and Bowman. Thanks so much. I think I'm saying your name right, Makeo in New Jersey. Oh, Makeo, I'm from New Jersey too. Where are you from? I'm from a town called Wayne, New Jersey, which is like up north. But how can you tell something's short print? So yeah, you kind of just have to know. I guess is the best answer. Anything that so a base card is just like usually just a simple basic white card. Um, anything short print, sometimes it'll say it on the back, SP or SSP. Um, or the best thing to do actually, what you could do if you for like um take like Topps series, right? Top series like a baseball product. Go on Google, type in like top series, and you can find a bunch of things on Google. You can find, and what it'll do is it will you can see all the different variations. So it'll tell you what all the different variations, how many are numbered to this and to that, and also which which ones are short print. So it'll tell you like this red blah 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 is a super short print. And also you could also go on eBay as well. And usually in eBay titles, like if you see something that's like a call it like a red disco, right? You can go on eBay, type in the same card, and usually people will label it as short print or super short print. Um, that's the best advice I got for you. And once you're in the hobby and you've done it enough, you just kind of know. You just kind of like could look at a card and be like, yeah, that's a short print. um, let's see, Dominic. I think I went over you. You said yes, yeah, I want to work with you. I think that's it for all the questions. There's a few others, but some of them were repetitive. Um, but cool. If you guys have any other questions, just always feel free to comment, DM me, send me anything. More than happy to answer any of your questions. And honestly, what I would do if I was in your guys' shoes, because like some of you guys are saying things along the lines of like, you're skeptical. Does this really work? Does it not? What I did for you skeptics out there is I put together what's called the school community. So school is like a platform where it's like an all-in-one thing where it's you could have a community, you could have a classroom with videos, you could have coaching calls, and I put it in there. It's $47 a month while I'm speaking right now. It'll probably go up in price the next like few months. But you can get in for free. Like you pay the $47, and at any point in the first 30 days, give you a refund. Like it's no harm, no foul. It's not that big of a deal. Um, and yeah, that's what I would do. Get in. I literally show you exactly how to make money with sports cards. And that's probably like what I would do if you guys are skeptical. It's $47 and you can get a refund at any point. That's what I would do. If you guys have any other questions, feel free to hit me up. Bada Bing Sports Cards was commenting in the Instagram live. He thinks this whole thing's a scam. You could feel free to message me. I'm more than happy to hop on a phone call with you and shoot the shit. Bada Bing. I think that's how to pronounce it. But anyways, hopefully you guys enjoy this podcast. First one. Hopefully in the future I'll have guests on and do all sorts of interesting things. But if you have any questions, just feel free to message me, email me, DM, comment, whatever. But hopefully you guys enjoyed Beyond the Game, and I'll see you guys in the next one.